last night I gave my view that you can look at what the Daily Mail say, which is if you get rid of Boris Johnson, you'll lose the next election. And I gave my view very strongly that if you stick with Boris Johnson, you are now bound to lose the next general election. There is a chunk, over 25% of his 2019 voters, who are disgusted with the behaviour that went on in Downing Street during lockdown, and who knows, there may be still more and worse stories to come out. But also because he's not a Conservative. He's let people down appallingly on immigration, on taxation, and I could go on and read out a list as long as your arm. But as you all know at home, one of the main missions of this channel is to make sure we genuinely have fair and balanced debate, and that is what we do. Now, overnight, Priti Patel in the Daily Mail has launched a pretty strong defence of the Prime Minister, making it clear that it would be a terrible mistake to get rid of him now. There is so much still to do. Well, I've got with me tonight Lord Moylan, who is, I think, a very strong Brexiteer, of course.
Yes.
Absolutely sort of engraved in you.
Complete Brexiteer.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're absolutely on the same ticket with that, and you know that, and the audience know that. But I put it to you, Lord Moylan, that Boris Johnson just hasn't kept his promises. And I know there's been the pandemic and difficulties, but for people who believed that a Conservative government would start to put the interests of small business, of enterprise, of growth to the fore, we see somebody who is putting up corporation taxes by 30%, somebody who is putting up national insurance, somebody who, whilst he's good at some things, doesn't seem to have any connection with the business world at all. And I'm speaking here on behalf of the millions of people out there running small businesses, acting as sole traders, running little manufacturing firms. Boris Johnson doesn't connect with them.
Well, I think, look, Nigel, you made your views very clear last night, and I listened very carefully to what you said, and basically you've got no idea what to do either, because all you had to say was the Conservative Party should take a gamble, and that means the country should take a gamble, and a gamble that's going to take a long time to sort out, because it takes several months to do it, at a time when we're all facing difficulties, both economic difficulties at home and war abroad. So I just don't think there's a solution that involves saying, take a gamble. I think we've got to be more serious about that now.
With respect, in terms of policy, I have been saying very clearly, we have got to stop exporting manufacturing jobs and importing energy, all in the name of pursuing a net zero policy that very, very few Conservatives voted for. So I am trying and looking for positive economic solutions. So I'm not just here as a knocker. I want to find a way forward. When it comes to taking a gamble, yes, I accept that the process of finding a new leader takes months. But do you really think, given how damaged Boris Johnson is, damaged goods to much of that 2019 Conservative vote, do you honestly, hand on heart, believe he can win them back?
Well, look, if you want to talk about who can win the next election, we can talk about what's best for the country as well. But just looking at it from a narrow Conservative point of view, any Conservative MP out there who thinks that anybody can win the next election after they've been exposed to 3 or 4 months of internecine war in the Conservative Party at a time when we're in government, not opposition, and meant to be handling the economy and all the other difficulties, if you think that's a way to persuade the British people in 18 months, 2 years' time, whenever it is, that they should vote Conservative, you need your head examined. So that's absolutely, from a Conservative Party point of view, not the right thing to do. From a national point of view, you are disappointed in some of Boris's policies. Other people are disappointed in them in other directions, and I can understand that. And there are things I think Boris has to get to grips with. So he knows, I'm sure he knows, that if he hasn't got a proper solution to the cost of living crisis now, that is number one priority, and that has to be sorted out. But there have been other number one priorities. There was a pandemic to deal with for a time,
accept that.
And there's been a war, which he's been really, really good at, and he's succeeded in leading a whole chunk of Europe into a stance on the Ukraine position, which is distinctive and which is morally right, and which we all instinctively feel
and it's Brexit Britain.
Behind.
It's Brexit Britain showing its face on the world stage.
Absolutely.
So
he's doing all of that.
Agree with
and when
that,
you come to some of the economic policies and the energy policies, I have some sympathy with what you say. But the place to argue that out is in the political forum, whereas what's happening here, as you know, is that people are not attacking Boris for his policies. They're attacking Boris.
Let me return to the problem.
They're attacking Boris about his character in just the way they went.
Well, that's the point.
In just the way they went for Trump.
But this is about trust. This is about trust, and I'm putting it to you that just over 25% of the 2019 voters are saying he's a liar, are saying they will not vote for him again, are saying, I mean, you know, you may not like this, but it's true, are saying he should resign immediately as Prime Minister. And my question to you, I repeat the question, if he stays as Prime Minister, can he win trust back from those
I think
people?
he can. I
How?
think he can. I think he can, and he can do it by showing that he's got the right economic policies. Now, so far, the government, in my view, has not got the right economic policies.
OK, so he's got to change.
There's got to be a better grip on economic analysis and policy, a bit more Thatcherism. There's got to be, I'm afraid, higher interest rates to deal with inflation, but there's got to be lower taxation to help the economy and especially those who are vulnerable, and there has to be deregulation to allow enterprise to take off. And some of these prospective tax increases, like the increase in corporation tax, need to be rethought. And I think Boris can get to all of those places because his focus up until now has been on other things, but he knows over the last couple of months this inflation crisis, which is to some extent a product of loose monetary policy up until now, and to some extent a consequence of the war.
It's funny, you and I agree on so much of this.
This is his top priority, and I think he can sort this out,
Right, well,
and I think he can win people back.
Lord Moylan, you know, in a way you make some of my arguments for me. You know, he's got to make some big changes. Finally, if I may, what did today mean to you, the Jubilee?
Well, just what I think, Nigel, is you can't watch what's been happening today and over the weekend without... I mean, this may sound a bit bombastic, but you can't watch that without coming away with a feeling that amidst all the chaos there is in the rest of the world, there's something enduring about this country and something stable and enduring, and we can take anything on the chin. And the monarchy, the Queen in particular, but not only the Queen, the institution of the monarchy, is somehow at the heart of that stability. And it really is... it's just immensely valuable. I mean, nobody can express how the confidence and joy we have in the Queen as a person. What a success she's been. But she's also made the monarchy an institution which we can be proud of.
Absolutely.
And so for many years to come, and you can see it on the balcony, you can see the years to come on the balcony, I think we're going to be fine in this country.
Well, Moylan, thank you very much indeed for joining me.
Thank you.